Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this first impressions flip through of the Cosmic Slumber Tarot Coloring Book by Tilly Walden, published by Liminal 11. Oh my goodness. So Liminal 11 sent me another coloring book to review and I'm so excited. If you missed my previous one, which was for the coloring book that they put out for the Modern Witch Tarot, I will link that in the cards for you and in the description box down below so you can check that out. I love to color, so I love these tarot coloring books that Liminal 11 has been putting out for their decks. I am really excited, especially for the Luna Soul Tarot coloring book to come out, because that one is probably my favorite Liminal 11 tarot deck so far. Maybe Modern Witch, this one, I don't know. I did actually not end up keeping the Cosmic Slumber Tarot in my collection. It's in my to be rehomed basket at the moment. Still deciding. It's kind of purgatory right now, but probably not staying. However, I'm so stoked about the coloring book because these images are so dreamy and gorgeous and flowy and beautiful that I'm excited for the possibilities from a coloring point of view. So with that said, let's get into this beautiful coloring book. So Liminal 11's coloring books are beautiful, soft bound with ribbon bookmarks. They're really, really well done, but they are definitely more than just a coloring book. But let's get into it and I'll talk a little bit more about what you have in here and what I think the benefits are to somebody who enjoys coloring. So let's get into it. So to start with, one thing I really enjoy in all of these coloring books that they've put out so far is that they include full color images of all of the cards in the front and back of the book, as well as these fold out bookmarks and even a little track your journey card on the back cover where you can check off the pages that you've already colored, and a little spot for you to test your tools. If anybody is obsessive about coloring like I am, this is not enough room, but it's still nice that they included it in there. And then also in the front cover, you have a section here that has a color guide for colors you may want to have on hand, as well as specific color palettes recommended for each of the 4 minor suits. So torches, swords, cups, and pentacles. There's a little color palette. If you check out my coloring example that I did in the Modern Witch, you'll see that I actually used one of these palettes to sort of pick some pencils to start my coloring journey of a card in that particular book. So love that they do that. I think it's a really nice touch. The paper I find in these coloring books is nice. It's got a bit of tooth. It is a little smoother than I would say I personally prefer, but it's still really nice to color on. There is a bit here about how to use the book. And there's some really nice double page spreads that you should be able to find throughout as well. What I really like, though, is that when you get into the actual coloring, there is a lot of information about the actual deck included in the coloring pages. So you have your actual coloring page for the Fool. Included is a color code for you to lean into for your color palette. But on the other side, you have information about the Fool, information about the dreamscape, the archetype, the symbols, the dream, and a tarot tip, which I think is really, really cool. So I think you get these full page write-ups through all of the major arcana. You also get some like journal prompts and reflections. So it's almost like a hybrid of a coloring book, a tarot study book, and a journal, like a guided journal, which I think is super cool. The pages I find that are associated with the reflections pages tend to be a lot more meditative, like more of a repeating pattern. Here we have almost like a mandala snowflakes style pattern with the Magician. So as you can see, really nice. And these pages are big. They're not perforated, so you could still probably easily tear them out if you wanted to, but I feel like in this kind of a book, you wouldn't want to. I mean, maybe somebody would, but really, really enjoy this. I will say that one of the things that I was not in hindsight as fond of in the Modern Witch Tarot is that the tarot designs themselves were altered to create more small spaces to color. And since I enjoy having large spaces to color, I was a little disappointed that the original artwork from the tarot had been altered to make it like more of a, I guess, adult coloring style. I really like this one so far because it looks like they are sticking with the original artwork style. They're not adding extra embellishments. They may have here in the Hierophant. I can't remember if that was how the original Hierophant looked, but I would prefer if the artwork was the same as the deck without any changes. The Lovers, the Chariot. Look at this here where it's kind of merged. That's really cool. And then when you get past the majors, let's flip a little more quickly here. The Hermit, the Wheel of Fortune. See, now here on the Wheel of Fortune, it's the layout on the opposing page is a little different, but all the information is the same. And you could definitely color in these, even on the pages that have information, you have little spots you could color depending on how thorough you want to be. I have a tendency to color like a page in a book, and it takes me hours sometimes. So this is really cool. I like this. So we have our original sort of hanged one. And then we have a like bigger hanged one going into this external sort of mandala, which is really cool. And I love that. Here's our death. Temperance. Why does it feel like there's two pages? There is. Okay, there we go. Temperance, the devil, the tower, the star. See, I love this. There's like not lots of big spaces. I do think the picture may have been altered with some little decorative embellishments there, but again, I can't remember. Here's our moon card. Sun, judgment, and the universe. So then we get into our minor arcana. Oh no, there's extra cards. So there's the morning card, and then there is also the night card, which are bonus cards. So when we get into the minor arcana, you have sort of an overview with little bits of information and a spot for you to write your reflections of every card. Beautiful double page spread, but then you just get a card on a page. I like that the perspective is the same here as it would be on a tarot deck. They haven't like stretched the image, which is kind of nice. So we have all of our torches. Again, I don't feel like they've added a lot of embellishment here. I think that this is like, and maybe it's because this art style was a little busier, so they didn't feel like they needed to add anything, but I really like that. And I love that we get these big double page dreamy spreads. These would be fun to play with some watercolor. This paper would definitely buckle a bit, but I think it'd be fun to play with or to paint or to use. I have these ink pencils, ink activated pencils by Derwent called Inkpressions? Good, no, that's not right. Inkscape? I can't remember. They're ink-based pencils. And those would be fun. Yeah, see, I'm not sure here if this outfit has added designs to it or if it was already like that. Here's our cups. And we do still have our quartz. Another double page spread. So it looks like there's a double page spread between each minor arcana suit, which I think is awesome. So I may choose a page from this book and do a bit of a color along at some point, maybe for Unicorn Fam members, or I don't know. I haven't really decided yet, but I wanted to give you guys a full flip through of the entire book so you could see all of the images and decide if this is something that you want to pick up. Again, I think it's really cool that Liminal 11 has been putting out one of these coloring books for each of their decks. I think it's really smart. I love that there's also a further reading recommended resource page here, and their final Cosmic Slumber Tarot page, and then we're back to these images. But yeah, if you wanted to color them true to the original, you have all of these references. So actually, there was a couple spots. Yeah, so here's an example. Here in the Four of Cups, let me just zoom us in here so you can see what I mean. Here in the Four of Cups, I wasn't sure if the original Four of Cups had designs on their pants, or here in the Three of Cups on their shirts or their dresses here. There aren't any, but they have been added. I would like to see a coloring book come out where there's not extra details added to the cards, because I think they would be more fun for me personally to color if they matched the tarot deck exactly. Again, there may be reasons why they're not doing that. I don't really know. It looks like to me there's less of that in this one than there was in the Modern Witch one, but maybe that's just my personal, well, I know it's my personal preference, but maybe that's just me being nitpicky. But in general, the quality of this is really nice. It's a nice sized page, and it does pretty much lay flat. So if you're coloring, you can just open to whatever spread page you're on, and it's going to, oh, I'm still zoomed in, and it'll lay flat for you to be able to color. So you're not going to be fighting with the paper, which is really nice. I really enjoy when books are like this, because it's much more enjoyable to color if you're not fighting with the book itself to color, because a lot of us do it to relax. We don't want to be like fighting with the actual book. So thank you again to Liminal 11 for sending me this so that I could share it with you guys. Let me know what you think down below. Do you have a tarot coloring book? Would you use something like this as part of a deck study? I think it is neat, particularly if you're drawn to a Liminal 11 deck, that you could, as once these have all come out for their decks, right? I don't know how many they're doing, but I do believe Luna Soul is coming. I could see it as a really great way to deep dive into a particular deck. So for example, I know some folks have started learning the tarot with the Modern Witch Tarot, or maybe even with this one, and they could pick up the coloring book to go with that deck, and it would be a great way to do a deep dive into that deck, to just sort of color your way through and make your notes about the art and just really get to know it. I think that's why I'm the most excited for Luna Soul, because that is the one that is currently hanging on my favorites rack. It is one that I reach for a lot, so having the coloring book for that deck is probably the one that I'm the most excited about for that reason. But I feel like this is a great way to deep dive into a single deck, and there are some of us that just really like to have one or two decks and then really go deep with them, and this is a really cool way to do that in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Is this something you could see yourself using? Do you even like coloring? Is this something? I don't know. I feel like the options for tarot coloring books have been really limited until recently, so this excites me, at least to see what's going to be coming out next. You know what I mean? So I am pretty stoked about it, and I do think they've put a lot of thought into how they put this together, with the example card images for you to reference, with the palettes, with the journal prompts and reflections, and the extra mandalas and extra pages and double pages. I just think it's got a lot in here and a lot of substance. I've definitely bought coloring books, adult coloring books, that are way less substantial and cost more, and I just think this is really, really nicely done. So those are my initial thoughts, but again, I would love to hear from you guys down below. Let me know what you think, and that is it for now. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye guys.